What are the things you can't see that are stealing your life away? We're going to talk about it on today's podcast.
I've spent the last 20 years studying, teaching, and coaching people to find their greatness and take their lives to the next level. Along the way, it's become evident that emotions are at the root of everybody's successes and failures. Worry and fear are the enemies, and it's time to forge the armor and earn the tools to overcome the two things that could single-handedly destroy your future. Hi, my name is Michael Johnson, and I'm a life coach, a peak performance trainer, and I'm the emotions guy. It's time to take back control of how you feel, control of how you act, and control of how you experience life. It's time to become a lifer, a new breed of overachiever focused on living every minute to its fullest. We are responsible for how we feel, and no one and no thing can make us feel anything. Emotional mastery is our journey, and emotional education and intelligence is the key. We are lifers, and this is Magic for Life.
What's up, lifers? Michael Johnson here with the Magic for Life podcast, and I'm excited you joined me today. We are going to talk about the invisible. How cool is that? I should have put this on Halloween or something. No, we're going to talk about the things that are stealing your life away that are basically invisible. What stuff is going on in your world that is literally stealing away your life, meaning you are not living it the way you want to be living it. Now think about that. There are probably a bunch of things. What things that you can't see are actually stealing your time? So let's take a step back for a moment. Let's talk about time. Time is literally the most important asset, and you don't even own it. Think about that. You can't own something that passes you by instantaneously. It is not an item. It's not a commodity. You can't buy more time. Hey, you know what? I think I'd like to have a little bit more time. Nope, you get the time that you get. That is it. And it's special and unique to you. You have a little clock ticking. The sands are dropping through, and you don't get to decide how many grains of sand are in your hourglass. But you can determine how they fall, and you can determine what it is you're going to do with that time. So time is the most important asset. It's the most important commodity, I guess you could call it if you wanted. It is the most important and most valuable thing that you have. And yet we tend to squander our time. Now, what is squandering it? Well, that's going to be unique to each of us because we each have a different thumbprint. We each are a different size, shape, height, whatever. And each of us love different things about this life experience that we are having. And so because of that, it is very challenging to say what squandering your time is and what squandering your time isn't. Right. And that's for you to decide. In fact, it's probably a pretty good thing to decide, right? If you love doing something, it could be something that somebody else would consider squandering time. Let's say you're a writer and you love to write fantasy novels. Somebody else might hate fantasy novels and they might say, well, you're wasting your time. And that's interesting, right? Because we each have our own different things. So if you can stay away from the judgment of it for a few minutes, that would be great. Let's talk about this idea. Now, what things are stealing your time? So I'd like to share with you this idea about a phone, right? We talk about technology. We mostly all have a phone. You might even be listening to me on your phone. And you may have had an experience where you had too many apps open. Now it works the same on Android and Apple, all the phones, basically the same. You can open an app and go, oh, I've got to go do this. And then you open another app, and then you open another one and another one and another one. And each of our phones have their threshold where you've opened too many apps and really your performance of your phone, the overall whole of the phone, starts acting weird. And so we have been trained, and maybe if you don't know this, then cool, take the tip and run with it. But if you don't know this, you can basically get into your apps. And for Android, I can just, open it up and go, okay, what apps are open? Oh, I have Instagram open, YouTube. Okay, my texting app was open. I got a little timer clock open. I need to close those. And I can just swipe them up, or I can say close all, and I can actually close them one at a time, or I can close them all at once. And now they're closed, and almost instantly, your phone will start operating faster. Now, sometimes it needs more than that because it needs an actual full system upgrade, a reboot, so to speak, right? Now, that's cool, right? But what we're talking about right now is what apps, things are taking your actual time from you. See, you're paying for your life with your experiences. And the reason I say paying is because each experience, each emotion, each feeling that you have is a payment to time. And the time clicks by, and as it clicks by, whatever you paid with, that's what you get. Now, some of you have those stories and you remember them forever and you retell them and you exaggerate them, but that's a whole other conversation. Right now, we just want to kind of focus on how many apps you have open that you don't need open. How many times have you been feeling bad? Which is fine. We have emotions. They're our guidance system. They're there to actually tell us something. But how many of you have been feeling bad about something and then taken it through your entire day with you? And now everything in your day is sad too. Now let's stop and think about that. That's sort of like opening up 10 apps that you don't need and trying to operate your phone the whole day with those 10 apps sucking resources from it. In fact, battery life is a big deal on your phone. Oh, wait, and in you. And so we're always paying attention to our battery life. And as we do pay attention to our battery life, we start to go, well, gosh, I don't need that sadness program running all day long, because it was really only in regards to that one thing, that special thing, that exact thing. And yet we still run that program all day long. But it's worse than that. We do that with a lot of different programs. And so here's the thing. In the morning when you wake up, how many times do you start thinking instantly about the bad stuff that went on the day before? But you don't need to. You chose to. And so feeling bad and feeling negative emotions is fine. And here's where I think people get confused, is they think, well, don't tell me not to have a negative emotion. Okay, well, I'm saying your negative emotions are actually telling you exactly what you do want. So once you identify what it is you don't want, then let's start heading to what you do want. Sounds like a good idea, right? And so when you think of something negative, it is actually giving you an indication of something positive that you want. That's why it's negative, and it wouldn't be negative if you didn't know the other side. So we do know what we want in those moments, and that's what that's there for. That's what that guidance system is there for. So as we start to realize that we take these negative emotions, experiences, focusing on things we don't want, and we let those programs run all day, all week, all month, all year, you start to realize why some people are really good at doing their negative emotions, because they practiced it. They practiced it a lot. In fact, they turn it on when they wake up and they keep it with them all day long. And then they keep it with them all week long. And then they keep it with them all year long, oh my gosh, all decade long. And it's sort of like Linus in Peanuts that carries his blanket around, right? Now he's just a kid, but you could imagine there's all sorts of cartoons and stuff about what happens when Linus grew up. He still had his blanket. He's still carrying around his blanket, right? You have to understand that you don't need to carry those around. You can feel the emotion, go, oh, recognize it. I feel sad. Why do I feel sad? I feel sad because of this. And what does that mean I want? Oh, it's because what I really would want is this. Now, what we can really do to change things around for you is we can start to think about what we do want and put all of our time into that. Now, if you understand how time works, you can understand there's this sweet spot in how time works. Every minute is important, right? That's why I wrote a whole book on it called Every Minute. There's a sweet spot where we can live in that place of what we do want, and we can be creators of our own world, of our own reality. And in doing that, we stop this madness of allowing things that we can't see and that aren't actually what we want to be ruling and operating our life. Not only is it taking up bandwidth of our operating system, but it's also eating up our battery. You know what I mean, because we've all had one of those moments when we've cried so much and we can't cry anymore. And you've maybe even said it to somebody, I'm done crying for right now. I can't do it anymore. I've done it enough. I have no more energy to cry. And it works on both sides. Emotions are just emotions, and that's how it works, right? You can laugh so hard that you are absolutely exhausted and you cannot even laugh one more minute, right? And so we can do this with all of our emotions and our feelings and the way we act. And this is something I'd like you to start thinking about. Every morning when you get up, are you thinking about something you don't want? And then wondering why it keeps coming to you all day long, all week long, all decade long. When you recognize how you don't want to feel, all it's doing is clarifying what you do want to feel. So stay there as little as you can and start to focus on what it is you want and start to live there. Start to feel there. Start to keep these things that you can't see from stealing your life away. Because if not, if it's balanced the other way, then those things you don't want and the things you can't see essentially are sucking your battery life, and they're determining what you're going to keep getting because that's where your focus is at. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. What you focus on, you get. I hope this helps. I hope this is something you can use. And if you know somebody that needs to hear this message, please share this episode with them. Give me a hashtag Magic for Life on the Instagrams. And if you can, and you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. We would appreciate it. And go ahead and give us a good rating and a review on Apple, iTunes, or Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. We sure appreciate you guys so much. And of course, if you're interested in our Magic for Life group, we have a private group on Facebook. You can go check and apply to get into it. We only accept like-minded individuals. So if you are that and you think you're that and you think you'd fit into the group, please come and join us on Facebook. And we will see you there, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Want more Magic for Life? If so, then reserve your copy of my new book. Get your copy at everyminutebook.com. Inside this book, you'll find the secrets to attaining the next level of performance in anything you do. Learn the secrets behind emotional mastery that'll start you on your new journey of being a lifer. Whether you're an athlete, a business professional, or an artist, this book will change your life forever. Get your copy reserved today.